I have an older Forest River hybrid camper, and both of the pop-outs had a fair bit of rot at the bottom here. I fixed the other side last year and I've been happy with it. There's some how-to videos out there that show you how to take the whole door off and rebuild the core. I found some tips out there of a much easier method. I was able to do this last year with the whole thing attached, and I was actually working on it in the rain and from inside. So what I'd recommend is figure out where the rot is. This is good up here. This is rotten down here. So figure out where the rot is and make a nice straight line. That'll help you later. You should be able to keep it less than 24 inches wide if you can, and then you can rebuild both sides with a 4x8 sheet of everything. You'll want an oscillating tool. Make a nice straight line and then cut it. A 1-inch putty knife really helps to scrape up the glued on luan from the other side. And once I get this open, I'll come back and show you where I'm at. Starting to get this opened up, and you can see what this is made of. It's just 1-inch thick foam with thin wood on both sides. This is totally saturated. I can squeeze water out of this. The 1-inch putty knife is really what you want to get this up. This is all glued. This flexes and gets under it without poking through the outside. So I'll get this pulled up and show you what it looks like. This is still a little wet here, so I may end up going up another 2-3 inches. We'll see. So I have most of this bottom corner out. I just wanted to show that now that I've got the top layer of wood and the foam out, you can see what that looks like. There's the bottom layer of wood, so you want to get out as much of this as you can. It was glued, laminated to the outside skin, so some of it's hard to get out, but the stuff that's been wet for a long time is easy to get out. I meant to mention before, when you're making this cut with the oscillating saw, there is an aluminum frame that goes obviously around the outside. There's also a bar in the middle, so watch out for that. Okay, I've got all that wet, rotten stuff out. This here, that's the actual skin on the outside. So I didn't try to get all the wood off. You're not gonna get all that off. It's just the face of the wood that was really glued on there. But I'll give this a day or so to dry, a day or two, so it's not wet in there anymore. Get it vacuumed out real nice, and then big picture, what I'm gonna do is basically just put some nice thick plywood in there, secure it to the frame, put it in there as a plug, and then put something nice over the top. I think this is a nice approach, very easy to do. And I would say the only downside is it'll still look delaminated on the outside. So this is laminated nice and flat, smooth, and then you know what it looks like when this starts loosening up, a little wrinkly. Some people you could put glue down on the plywood that you put in there and find a good way to clamp this down really good. And I'll explain more about that in a minute. And then this is why that core gets wet in the first place, so I'm gonna put some new sealant here as well. So anyway, some people would glue and clamp that down so it looks nicer on the outside. My thinking is that I'm just going to screw the plywood in, and then if I ever have to do this again, it'll be really easy to swap out. Because I'm not convinced that this is ever going to be perfectly dry, so I'm just going to make it good and functional. I'm working on this again. I've made a couple plugs to go in where I cut out the rotten wood and foam. This is mostly 23/32 exterior plywood, so it should hold up to some moisture. I did screw some 5mm plywood that I had around onto this just to make the thickness correct, so that's just the right thickness. So I'll get these put in place, and then basically I'm just going to, these screws work really well, these Tech screws. So I'll screw onto the frame and into the wood, and I did something similar on the other side. I used aluminum on the other side, which was much softer, and it worked really well, so I think this will work really well. So I'll update you in a few minutes when this is in. Okay, so here you can see it installed. I like those Tech screws. They go through the steel, they bite into aluminum, they bite into wood. They work well. This is nice and strong. So then you just need to finish it however you like. I found this stuff at the hardware store. It's just like cardboard except it's plastic. So on the other side, when I repaired the other pop out, I basically put a few screws in that and then white Gorilla tape around the edge, and that's held up well. Could go right out there if you wanted to. But I like this method of repair. I never have to mess around with the hinge, the seal, any of the structural stuff up there. And it's easy. Last update on this side. I screwed that corrugated plastic down and just need to put tape around the edge. I'll show you on this side what I did. I did this last year, so it looks pretty good. Good enough to put a mattress on. You never actually see this anyway, so this is the opportunity where if you really wanted to make it look nicer, you could put something over the whole surface up to the top, but like I said, it's covered up by mattress anyway. But this is nice and strong. It's actually much stronger than that 1 inch of styrofoam, so I'm happy with that fix.